The Doom franchise, known for pioneering and popularizing the first-person shooter genre, recently celebrated its 30th anniversary. I thought this would be the perfect time to dig into the backlog and finally play a game that has sat there for far too long, Doom Eternal. Welcome back everyone, this is Darth Spawn, and thank you for joining me for another video. As soon as I sat down to play Doom Eternal, I wondered why I had waited almost 4 years to play it, especially because I remember absolutely loving Doom 2016 back in the day. I might have just not been in the right mood at the time, not to mention that it released at the same day as Animal Crossing New Horizons, a game that took the world by storm during the COVID-19 pandemic. Anyway, almost 4 years later, and on the 30th anniversary of Doom, we are here to talk about this fantastic first-person shooter. First off, I want to mention that I was pleasantly surprised at how well this game runs. I played on Xbox Series S and it runs flawlessly. I'm sure it's just as good if not better on PC and PlayStation 5. And I've heard good things about the Switch version as well. So no matter what platform you're on, there's a good version of Doom Eternal waiting for you. Another aspect of the game I want to give a shout out to before we dive deeper is the soundtrack. It's absolutely phenomenal, and it adds so much to the vibe of Doom Eternal. Congrats to Mick Gordon and everyone else involved in the production of the game soundtrack. An easy 10 out of 10. Now, let's talk about the gameplay. I can confidently say that Doom Eternal's gameplay is among the best in the genre. The whole premise is to kill demons in the most brutal way possible, and the game gives you an insane arsenal in order to do just that. The super shotgun was by far my favorite weapon, especially because they added the grapple attachment to it that adds yet another layer of movement to the game's combat. Doom Eternal gives you 8 weapons to use, most of which have 2 types of mods that you can choose to enhance them. Not only that, but you also have access to 2 types of grenades, melee attacks, a chainsaw, and even a sword later in the game. Learning how to manage all of these resources allows you to engage dozens of enemies at once, and I love how these battles play out, especially while hearing the game's soundtrack in the background. I think this is ultimately what Doom Eternal does best. It puts you in chaotic fights that often last several minutes, and it's so fun to use all of the tools at your disposal to defeat your enemies. Tying directly into this thread is, of course, the levels in which these battles take place. idsoftware really did a good job with the level design here, even if I wasn't a huge fan of the platforming and puzzle elements. I obviously liked some of the levels better than others, and Ark Complex was probably the highlight for me, but it was definitely pretty solid overall. I'm still amazed by how much is in these levels. I finished my first playthrough in just under 16 hours, and I know for a fact that I missed a ton of content. I like the replayability here, and if you're a completionist, you'll have a lot to work with. I'll quickly mention the story, which is just fine in my opinion, but in a Doom game I think we can agree that it's not the main focus. It's not bad by any means, but it's also not a big part of what makes this game so good. In my opinion, Doom Eternal's gameplay and soundtrack are what make it a great game, and are easily the highlight of the whole experience. Another aspect of the game I thought was good but ultimately secondary to my enjoyment were the upgrade systems. I do not think the game benefited from having you upgrade things to this extent. You upgrade your weapons, your suit, you find runes to unlock certain perks, and crystals for a completely different set of upgrades for health, armor, and ammo. Although I appreciate these things in a game, I just did not really like the way they was presented in Doom Eternal. I might be in the minority with this one. Overall, I'm happy I took the time to finally play through this game. The gameplay and soundtrack are among the best in the genre, the level design is great, and the boss battles were challenging. The story is basic, and I was not a fan of the upgrade systems, but these things did not get in the way of me enjoying the hell out of this game. Doom Eternal is easily in the conversation to be one of my favorite shooters of all time, which I'd like to make a video on one day. It's cool to see that after 30 years, Doom is still a big part of gaming today. It makes me excited to find out what idsoftware is working on now. What will it be? I'm sure we're getting close to finding out soon. Until next time.